Today we are checking out a brand new game called Windblown. This is going to be releasing in early access to Steam on the 24th of October, so coming out very, very soon. I am very excited about this game because this is one of those games that has a very strong development team behind it. And this is by Motion Twin, which is by the same developers who did Dead Cells. And you can feel it in this game. This game is essentially Dead Cells when it comes down to mechanics of what it is, of what you're doing. This is a fast-paced action roguelite adventure, and it really feels like a mix of a lot of different indie games that I've played recently. One, it feels a lot like Tunic, just like the way that the world like draws you in, the music in the first few areas, and just being thrown into the game and not knowing exactly where you're going or what you're doing feels like Tunic. It is amazing. I love it. The art reminds me a little bit of Hyper Light Drifter, and then finally the gameplay and the combat really does feel like Dead Cells. In the demo build that I'm playing, there are 8 different weapons for us to try out. There's also these different trinkets that you get to use, and it's kind of like the traps and the bombs and stuff from Dead Cells, a very similar way. And oh my gosh, within the first couple of hours, I am falling for this game. I'm not the biggest roguelite adventure type person because it gets kind of samey doing the same stuff over and over again, but I really am enjoying this game, and I think it's going to be a lot more fun once they add in the multiplayer aspect, because you can go from anywhere from 1 to 3 players multiplayer with this, and I'm really excited to play this with some friends. So I just wanted to share, what is this game? How does it look? How does it feel? How does it play? And we're going to start off with the graphics and art style. And as you can see, this game is absolutely beautiful. Like, it is just fully fleshed out. The art style just looks so inviting and warm and friendly. The main characters in the main hub world are these like anthropomorphic animals, and so it kind of gives furry vibes. I don't know. I don't know anything about furries, but there's lots of like, you buy something and it throws a little paw print on the screen, or you're talking to like the main wolf guy who seems to run the whole hub world area. And yeah, I don't know. I'm totally getting furry vibes just looking at this guy. Other than that, you see that the game world is very vibrant. There's lots of just dashing. You basically need to dash all over the place. Lots of different enemies. I've only been to the first like 2 major worlds, but there are a decent amount of enemies that you get to fight. It does take a long ways before you get to the boss, and it feels like a very one-directional path on your way to the boss, which I wasn't the biggest fan of. I always like it when, especially in games like this, there are multiple branching paths to take, but hey, at least for right now, that's what it feels like. It feels like you could just keep going. You could dash probably directly to the boss. I don't even know if you have to kill tons and tons of enemies, but like with Dead Cells, if you're not killing the enemies, you're not going to be getting the upgrades and the weapons and the things that you need to be leveled up and powered up enough to be able to fight the bosses. Coming up next is the sound and the music. I really, really do like the music in this game. Like I said, the first level is very like, it just draws you in and feels very mysterious, and you're kind of like wondering what's going on all the time. You're just wondering like what's behind that next waterfall. There's constantly hidden stuff all over the place, and I love that. I love being able to explore, even though it's not like going way off the beaten path or anything like that, but having these chests that are around corners or behind waterfalls and certain things like that to be able to get upgrades. I love it. That's always a plus in my book. The gameplay in Windblown is completely based around the combat, and so having a good weapon and something that you like to attack with is going to be the name of the game. It's really hit and run. You can deal damage and then dash right away. It's a very, very fast-paced game, as much as you want it to be. If you want to be fighting from range and using a lot of ranged weapons and trying to stay away from enemies, that's completely possible, but I feel like it's built to be a little bit more up and close in the enemy's face and then dashing to get away from them to avoid damage. It does have a pretty decent dodge mechanic, as far as it's fairly lenient as far as when you dash to be able to get a dodge and get away from attacks, which I like. I haven't seen any sort of parry mechanic, at least not as of yet. And it looks like if you do an attack and dash through an enemy, I think you're being able to deal some of your damage using your dash, which is kind of cool. I haven't really like mastered the little bits and pieces of the mechanics yet, but I am enjoying what is there. Once I made it up to level 2, and after I beat the first boss, I unlocked this like really cool mechanic of being able to use one attack over and over again until it shows this symbol on the screen, which lets you know that you can use your secondary attack, or vice versa. You could do your secondary attack over and over again until you use your primary weapon. And what that does is it uses like your powered up version of your weapon, and it deals a ton more damage, and it just looks and plays so cool. The only problem is that you have to be using your weapon for a good 3, 4, 5 swings before the symbol pops up to use your secondary weapon. So it's very high risk, high reward. I really enjoy it. I find myself getting very distracted trying to get in all of the hits so I can get that secondary attack off. Not always the best idea. I'm gonna have to figure out how to dial that back a little bit, but I am really enjoying the combat. So far, the first boss was awesome, and I'm really looking forward to just getting back into the game. As far as the story goes, without spoiling anything, this is very similar to Dead Cells or any other action roguelike game where you go into the game area, you'll fight enemies, you'll get some upgrades. Some of those upgrades you will take back with you, and then you have to spend like almost like research points. You'll find this like purple goo stuff in some of the different chests or on enemies. A lot more. You get a ton more once you make it up to level 2. And then you can get these permanent upgrades. And those are really awesome because then you get to take some stuff with you, or you get upgrades to be able to, you can earn money as you're going. They look like little cogs, and then those can be used for permanent upgrades to get flasks. Super original. I know, again, I'm going to keep harping on how similar it is to Dead Cells, but it just looks and feels different. It's not 2D, which is really, really nice. It's not just a side-scrolling hack and slash. You got more area to try and run around and get to. And I think I'm digging this more than Dead Cells. As far as the difficulty goes, I feel like it's not overly difficult. I mean, being an action roguelite, you are going to be completely underleveled, and you're expected to do multiple runs, get currency to be able to bring it back to your home world, to then upgrade different weapons or abilities, or get those permanent unlocks that are going to make each and every run afterwards easier and easier over time. And so as of right now, it's kind of hard to say, is it overly difficult or not? I enjoyed what I was playing. I felt like I was making progress with every single run, and then coming back to the home area and throwing up all over the place, because that's just the way it works. You get kind of sick coming out of that vortex. You'll have to let me know, have you been looking into Windblown, and is this something that you're looking forward to? Let me know what you think of this game. Are you hyped for it or not? Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Thank you to my members for supporting the channel. Thank you for watching all the way to the end, and I'll talk to you again more real soon. Thanks. Bye.